It's time to practice. Let's create a user account for John Smith. Based on our naming convention, let's say we have chosen the first letter of the first name plus a period plus the complete last name. So the username will be g.smith. In your privileged administration workstation, go open the Start menu and open the Active Directory Administrative Center. First, I will select the organizational unit under which I want to create the user account. Next, I will right-click to open the context menu. Click New, then click on User. The displayed window shows many fields to fill up. I will start by entering the first name, John. Next, the last name, Smith. You can notice that the full name field has been automatically filled. Next, I will enter the user UPN logon. UPN stands for User Principal Name. It's an internet-style login name, like an email address. You have the username as a prefix, @ and the domain name. I will type g.smith. The UPN logon will be g.smith@corp.zintech.com. The user SAM account name is a logon name used to support clients and servers from previous versions of Windows, such as Windows NT 4, Windows 95, and Windows 98. It's under the format of the domain name / the username. Next, I type the user password twice. There is this interesting option, Protect from Accidental Delete, which I recommend to check to protect users' accounts from being accidentally removed, or at least check it for the important accounts, like the CEO account. I guess you will be in trouble if you delete it even accidentally. So make it as a good practice to check this option. You have the possibility to specify the time range on which the user is allowed to open a session. Let's say you want to give the user the ability to just open a session every day from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Outside this time range, he will not be able to open a session. The blue color means that the logon is permitted, and by default, all days and all the time. First, I will select the range before 8 a.m. and going to deny access to the user from 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. I click Logon Denied. You can see the color has been changed to white on this time range. Next, I will select the time range after 5 p.m. and click Logon Denied. Now the user will be only allowed to open a session on the domain only between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. I click OK and close this window. You can also limit the computers on which the user is allowed to open a session on. By default, it's allowed to log on all the computers. If you want to limit that to a set of computers, select this option and enter the computer name in this field. Then click on the Added button to add the computer to the authorized computers list. Here you can specify the account lifetime. By default, the account never expires. If you want to limit the account lifetime, click here and enter the expiration date. This can be useful if you create accounts for temporary salaries. Let's make this account permanent. In the password option, you can force the user to change its password at the first logon. This way, You are sure the user will not keep using the default password. I have seen many users not changing their default password until they are forced. You can also choose other options, like using Microsoft Passport or a smart card for interactive logon. If you enable Password Never Expires option, this will keep the password valid over time. If you implement a policy that forces users to change their passwords every 3 months, for example, this policy will not apply to this account. This is usually used with accounts that interact with services. You can prevent user from changing its password by this option. User cannot change password. In the organization area, you can enter complementary information, such as the office, the email address, web page, the job title, department, company. You can also enter the phone numbers, the address. In the member of area, you can add the user to groups. By default, every newly created user will be added to the domain users group. If you want to add the user to another group, just click on the Add button. Then select or type the group name. Let's say I want to add this user to the backup operators group. I will click the check names to be sure I didn't made a typo and that the group name I typed really exists in the Active Directory. OK. The group has been added. This is all you need to create a user account. There are other options that are not always needed, like the password settings, where you can assign a password policy to the user. You can run a logon script you added in the profile area. If you don't need all these options, you can hide them. Click on Sections, drop box, and uncheck unneeded areas. This way, we keep only the areas and options we really need for user creation. When you are all done, click OK to create the user account. Yes, our user, John Smith, has been created under the IT organizational unit. Good job! Now I want to open a session with John Smith credentials, just to test the time restriction logon. We have allowed John Smith to log on only between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. At this time, it's 8 p.m. So normally I will not be able to open a session at that time. Let's try. Enter the username, the password, and we get this message. Your account has time restriction, blah, blah, blah. So it works. That's it for this lesson. Thank you for watching.